New York has been known for a lot of great things. Pizza, bagels, but New York's also been known for some terrible things. And amongst those terrible things is the NY2 Trigger. On today's episode, we explore just how bad it really is. If you get in nice and close, I'm going to walk you through all the different things that we're looking at. OEM 5.5 pound trigger spring. This is what's supposed to be in every single Glock from generation 1 through generation 4. After that, I don't have the Gen 5 and V and 6 trigger springs here. This is the NY2 trigger that we're both shooting. That's 12 pounds. This right here is a trigger that the MTA used for years. This one is, I believe, 8 pounds. This is an old-timey that I took out of an old Glock. I think this was an original design behind the heavier trigger pull, but I don't know much more about it. And this is the combined Gen 5 and above 12 pound. So here's your trigger spring and here's your 343 connector that gets you to that 12 pound that we're talking about. So going from a 5.5 pound to a 12 pound is what we're doing here. Look how much tension to squeeze this spring. And it's interesting because the original spring is pulled apart and comes together as you pull the trigger. On this one, you're depressing, or rather pressing in on this spring. It's almost opposite of what's happening. One, the spring is already pulled apart and you're allowing it to come together, and here you're having to force a spring together. They're opposite springs. One's one that goes this way and wants to spring back. This one's one that wants to stay out and you got to push it in. So here you can see the differences. My Gen 3 still has the NY2 trigger in it, and here you can see what an OEM stock spring is supposed to look like when you get a Glock from the factory. So today we're going to be using a USPSA target, and we're going to be using hit factor scoring to find out our scores. Right over here we have the Alpha Zone, also in the head box. That's worth 5 points. Charlie is going to be worth 3 points, and then we have Delta worth 1 point. How do we score hit factor?
So we score hit factor based on a points and time ratio. So we're going to take our points divided by our time. That's going to give us our hit factor scoring. Today we're taking our time with the Shooter's Global Pro Timer.
So let me ask you a question. What do you anticipate happening today? Do you think the 12 pound trigger is really going to affect us who are, we like to shoot. We're not just the average person that owns a gun. I should say the average cop that owns a gun, qualifies twice a year, and that's it. We're people that like to shoot. We compete. Do you expect the 12 pound trigger to affect us as much as it would someone else, or do you think it's not going to affect us at all?
I think what mostly is going to happen is you're going to see our time slow down, our splits.
Or split time. So what is split time exactly for people who don't know?
So the time in between shots.
Okay.
Right, that's your split time. I think we're going to see a slightly larger gap there. And that's us. I think other people are going to see even a bigger gap. On the accuracy side, we're going to be shooting pretty close, so I don't know how big of a difference we're going to see, but that could affect it too.
So you think if I try even harder to make up for the fact that it's a heavier trigger pull and pull it quicker, that I'll end up catching up on my split times, but losing my accuracy?
You're going to lose the accuracy.
So it's one or the other?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one or the other.
Very interesting perspective on that. I think pretty similarly, to be honest. I don't think the accuracy would be at all affected if we didn't have time as a factor here. But being that we're going for hit factor scoring, and time is a huge part of it, I do think accuracy is going to be diminishing as we try to pick up the pace.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be shooting pretty close, so we'll see exactly what kind of grouping we're going to see.
Sure.
Versus like 25, we're going to be, 7 yards away?
Right.
10 maybe, right? So, we are focusing more on the speed today. So we'll see exactly what it is, but I think it is going to suffer, especially if we try to force that 12 pound trigger faster.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, for consistency purposes, I'm going to stick with my Gen 3 19. He's going to stick with his Gen 4 19. Then we're going to switch, not guns, but trigger springs. So we're going to put in the original factory OEM 5.5 pound trigger pull spring into each of our guns and run all the same drills again and see how the times compare. We will be shooting Blazer 115 FMJ ammo today, the entire video, so there won't be any changes in ammo to claim that any sort of changes on paper or in our trigger pulls happen because of the ammo. We're sticking with one kind. Again, for consistency and continuity purposes, reloading and drawing from holster are only going to be other factors that add to our time differences, so we're going to be avoiding all of that. All of the drills today are going to start from low ready, aiming at the word target right here. So we'll both be standing in the same position, aiming at the word target and bringing the gun up to the alpha, ideally, is what we're trying to hit. And that way we're keeping all things related to the trigger itself. Now, we set this stick right here on the floor at roughly, I want to say 5 yards. And the first drill we're going to do is the bill drill. All right, if you don't know what a bill drill is, it's 6 rounds as fast as you can. Ideally, getting all 6 in the alpha. Anthony's going to go first. He's running a Glock 19 Gen 4 with a NY2 Trigger. Stand by.
Wow.
Now on that one, Anthony pulled a 2.33. All shots were in the alpha, which means it was good shooting, but for a 2.33 on a bill drill at 5 yards, it's a little bit on the slower end. So here we're already seeing on the very first drill, the trigger might actually be a factor, but we'll know for sure when we switch to the stock trigger later in that gun.
Stand by.
Woo, some real trigger freeze on that. So you definitely heard the trigger freeze, and we managed to pull all alphas as well. But for someone who, I can usually pull pretty decent split times, I don't even remember what they are, and we'll see them later, you actually notice a difference when you try to shoot fast with the 12-pound trigger. Still able to maintain the accuracy, and it's a pretty decent grouping, but again, I have a feeling as we would back up, a true bill drill happening at 7 yards and even further out, we might see some accuracy diminishing. Are you ready? Stand by. Well, come on, quick, let's see. 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. It doesn't get more center than that, but at a 2.39. Again, 2.39, not the quickest Mozambique drill. Certainly not the way Anthony shoots. I see him shoot all the time. But we'll know for sure when we go to that 5.5-pound trigger. All right, my turn for Mozambique. 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. For time.
Are you ready? Stand by.
All right, we managed to pull it off. Not as accurate as his. I probably got a little bit quicker time. What was my time?
144.
Okay, 144 on the Mozambique, but look at that spread. For a double for me, as close as what I'm calling 5 yards, it's probably a little closer than that. Come on, guys. I know I can do better. Is it the gun or is it me? For this next one, we're going to fire 4 shots, and I just want to see if we can stack the rounds on top of each other. Let's let Anthony go first. Just 4 rounds. Anywhere you want on target. You can go dead center. You can go for the head box. Whatever you'd like. We're just looking to see if you can stack round over round over round. All right, holster up. Let's take a look at the shots. Shot number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Pretty close to each other, within an inch of each other, but couldn't quite stack them. The first 2 were really good. The next 2 were a little lower. Is it Anthony or is it that trigger? Woo! 1 flyer and then 1 really good. So, here was my grouping. It's going to be hard to tell. Shot number 1, shot number 2, shot number 3. That's actually, you could see the little figure 8 happening there. And shot number 4. This one was definitely a flyer on my end. Good stack over there. But I could not hold it consistently for 4 rounds across the board. Not ideal shooting. We're going to go switch to 5.5-pound triggers. The original OEM trigger that's meant to be in the Glock. Let's see how it goes. Stand by. Came in at a 156. Let's go take a look at the shots. Much better grouping. 1 flyer in there. That was really good.
Are you ready? Stand by.
I managed to keep them all in the alpha. My grouping is not great, but look how much faster I was able to pull the trigger. What was my time?
142.
So 142, all alpha. Widened up the grouping a little bit. I also don't shoot irons that much. Not going to make excuses, but we pulled all alphas. We consistently did what the bill drill requires. Next drill that we did was a Mozambique drill, 2 to the body, 1 to the head. Stand by. I will give credit where credit is due. He is consistent and putting those rounds dead center on that A. Can't even see the A anymore because of that sticker, but great grouping. This is what I'd expect out of a proper double tap Mozambique. Well done.
For the time.
Oh, the time, 179.
Are you ready? Stand by.
What was the time?
1.2.
1.2, 2 alpha, a little bit of a spread, dead center headshot. So what you want out of a Mozambique feels a lot easier. I will say this, even if the results aren't that different, there is something to personal perspective. And so far what I'm feeling is less strain on my arm. These accessory muscles that just aren't necessary for shooting a gun that I have to use to shoot just as fast, or at least close to just as fast with a 12-pound trigger. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know what the times are. We'll see after. But in the moment, it feels easier. Yeah, without a doubt.
All right, last thing we're going to do, that's that accuracy we talked about before. Let me tape this up. 4 rounds, try to stack them on top of each other as best as you can. Very interesting. Let's take a look. He did something very similar to last time. First shot right here, second shot down here, third shot right here, fourth shot right here. A much better grouping than before. You'll see them side by side and see that for sure. Might be the end of this life.
Yeah.
This was my second shot. I don't remember which one was 1, 2, 1, 3, and 4 in this, but I do know.
So it was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Again, I believe this is a tighter grouping than I had the first time. You definitely see though when I try to shoot bullseye, I don't focus on a follow-up shot. I kind of let the gun fly up in the air because I'm just focusing on breaking that trigger. Just thoughts. Obviously, you guys can watch the video. You guys can see the numbers and the accuracy side by side and make a determination for yourself. But what are your personal thoughts having not seen that?
I would say it feeling, if nothing else, feeling is better with the 5-pound trigger. You know, if at the end of this video showed that when we do the side-by-side comparison that there really wasn't that much of a difference, at least it feels better.
Do you think that leads to confidence behind the gun?
In general, I would say it would, yeah.
So what do you think about the officers from all the different agencies with some sort of modified trigger that is heavier, that don't train as much as we do, that don't shoot as much as we do? What do you think they feel?
They probably feel a lot of anxiety and stress going into their requalification. You know, they got to shoot however many rounds and whatever the time frame is. You know, we're here, there were no stress. We don't even have a timer or a range officer here looking at us. No one's shooting back at us. So we're just kind of hanging out doing this, and it feels better. Like I can only imagine what it would feel like in a real scenario.
Sure. Yeah, you said something interesting. No one's shooting back at us, right? Yeah, obviously we're at the range, but if requalification is stressful enough for certain officers because they just don't feel as confident due to that 12-pound trigger, and they spent more time shooting a 5.5-pound trigger, and all of a sudden they saw how much easier it is to actually perform pretty well, that's got to translate to confident on the streets too.
Yeah, I would assume so. Obviously without knowing for sure, but I would just assume it would.
It's all assumption.
Yeah. I don't see how it wouldn't.
Right.
Is the real statement for this.
Well, awesome. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope, if anything, this brought some entertainment to you. But I certainly hope what this does is serves as data, real data, to show the difference between a standard trigger and what was a very poor idea based on, in my opinion, no real merit. Just hey, a bunch of officers are used to revolvers that have 12-pound triggers. So if we're switching to automatics, let's put a 12-pound trigger in it also, so they don't go full auto. It's just not how it works, guys. There is a very good reason that after almost, at least, I think it's been over 2 decades, maybe a little less than 2 decades, NYPD finally stopped putting the 12-pound trigger in their duty weapons.